Sensing Creativity by Crystal, Stephanie, and Shirley. Finding your creativity in today's always-on-the-go world can be quite challenging. The challenge often becomes the focus. With so much overwhelming our senses on a daily basis, such as noise, stress, smells, work, television, radio, and many other things, our creativity can easily get lost in the shuffle. This loss of concentration and focus is caused by all of the constant outside stimulation to our senses. So how do we get back to our creativity? With these creative exercises, our intent is to awaken your creativity through focus. Each exercise is designed to tune you into one of your senses. Each time you focus on a specific sense activity, it will quiet your outside influences and help you to focus your mind, ideally awakening some creative flow of ideas. The sense of touch. We will start with touch. Fidgeting is something some of you may be aware of, or something you do without realizing you do it. If you learn what works for you and why, you can start to fidget with a purpose. By using your sense of touch to fidget, you are able to focus your energy to your hands. This shift of focus towards your hands can allow your mind to clear and hone your focus. This focusing can make room for new ideas and allow more room for creative flow. We will go through 2 quick tutorials on making your own fidgeting toys. Don't let the word toys mislead you. These can have so much more impact than toys you purchase for your kids in the store. If at any point you need to pause the presentation, please feel free to do so. The first tutorial will guide you through making a fidget ball, and the second will take you through making a fidget ring. These touch exercises are actually twofold. You get to focus while making the fidget toy, and then again when you use them to fidget. Let's review. Tactile distraction. You can calm your racing mind by focusing on touch tactile activities. Fidget toys are more than just toys. We will be making some fidget toys, 2 in total. You may feel free to make one or both for fidgeting variety. In fact, why don't you make a few and give out to your fidgety friends? The following materials will be needed. For Fidget Toy 1, you will need balloons and Play-Doh. For Fidget Toy 2, you will need 3 or 4 empty key rings and a batch of plastic beads, also known as pony beads. We will start with the ball exercise. First, get your balloon and Play-Doh ready to go. Remember, stop the video if you need to. Next, take your Play-Doh out and break it up into small pieces. Once you have your pieces, roll them into snake-like strands. After all your pieces have been rolled out, put the snake-like strands into the balloon opening. Once the strands are inside the balloon, tie the opening into a knot. Once you have tied the balloon, you are now ready to use your fidget balloon. To do this, simply start kneading a balloon in one hand. Focus on the tactile sensations of moving and kneading the balloon. Now let your mind wander as you mindlessly knead the balloon. What thoughts come to mind? Is your mind quieter? Do you feel any increased creativity? It may take a few times before you are really able to let your mind wander as your sense of touch is activated. The sense of taste. Now we will focus on the sense of taste. This is a sense which is often underutilized. It is very interesting to do this exercise and notice the different flavors and textures of the food. While you are completing this exercise, really try to block out your other senses and focus on just your sense of taste. This can be a challenge to do because it is so often underutilized on a regular basis. Let's get started. The materials you will need for this exercise are an apple, which should be sliced, a yam, also sliced, a potato, yes, you guessed it, sliced, a knife, and a bowl. It is important to note that all foods should be sliced to about the same size and shape. To begin the exercise, take one slice of each apple, potato, and yam and place them into the bowl. Now, close your eyes and keep them closed for the duration of the first tasting. Grab the bowl, yes, with your eyes closed, use those senses, and shake the bowl around to mix the slices up. Now block your nose with your fingers. This inhibits your sense of smell. With your free hand, grab one slice and put it in your mouth. Now do not chew. Take the time just to taste the slice. Move it around in your mouth and start to notice all the flavors. Now try to guess which slice it is. After about 10 to 15 seconds, take it out of your mouth. Was your guess correct? Repeat the process for the final two slices. Notice the different sensations of taste for each slice and pay careful attention to each taste. You may notice flavors of these foods that you've never noticed before. If you want more of a challenge for the exercise, you can place 3 or 4 pieces of each food in the bowl before you start. This will challenge your sense of taste that much more. The sense of hearing. Hearing is not listening. Listening sometimes requires not hearing. Listening is focused hearing or mindful listening. The art of mindful listening can be learned. Mindful listening is important to the creative process. Remember, hearing is not listening. Hearing is a simple biological process. Hearing is the brain accepting audio input. Listening is working through the noise and selecting relevant data. Therefore, the mind must learn to filter out unwanted noise if one is to become a mindful listener. Mindful listening techniques allow us to relax and let creative ideas percolate. Mindful listening can be learned. Mindful listening must be learned as a prerequisite to the creative process. We say this because creative ideas need to be nurtured. They must first be given an environment free of distraction so that they may germinate. If the seed does not germinate, the flower will not grow. Let's practice some mindful listening and creativity techniques. First, relax and accept. Let unwanted noise melt away. Ask why is what remains important. When inundated with audible stimuli that you find distracting, the easiest and recommended solution is to move to a quiet location. Practically speaking, this is not always possible. For example, one may work in a space occupied by others. Do not fight the noise, accept its inevitability. Even if one is able to isolate oneself from others, it is likely that noise will enter the brain in the form of random thoughts. Again, do not fight the random thoughts. Rather, in either case, allow unwanted noise to melt away. This is accomplished by relaxing and discovering a dominant sound, be it external or a dominant internal thought. Actively stimulate this external or internal sound by asking it, "Why are you so important?" This conversation will eventually push away the noise. When done, ask yourself if this conversation is at all related to any situation that may be present in your life. A personal issue that you are struggling with, a work problem, anything. If this happens to be the case, it is most unusual as it generally takes a lot of practice to learn mindful listening. Now we will do a mindful listening exercise. This exercise will take about 10 minutes to perform. There are 3 variations. One is in a noisy environment. Another, while listening to sounds of nature in a natural setting. And finally, while listening to recorded sounds of nature. Do not analyze the sounds, just relax and allow the fertile environment to establish itself. Allow the dominant sound to emerge. Have a brief conversation with this sound until the 5 minutes are over. For the remaining minutes, write down why this conversation was important relative to a personal or professional manner. Mindful listening takes a lot of practice. You should keep a journal of your attempts to check on your progress. The most important thing to remember is that before the idea will emerge, it requires that you learn to establish a fertile environment. The audio stimuli are important to this process. Only after having mastered this technique is it recommended that you try the 4th variation, a quiet room in which you are listening to your thoughts. Now we will move on towards active listening exercises. Active listening is important too. There are many exercises available. Many of us prefer learning with games. Buzzle.com has a link which you may access. Yes, mindful listening is important, and the exercises we provided will benefit you. Given that, hearing is also about listening rather than just hearing what others have to say. Volumes, no pun intended, have been written about the importance of active listening, and there are many exercises available to help train one in the art of active listening. But why not have fun? As mentioned before, the Buzzle website has a number of fun activities that will also improve one's ability to listen actively. We will first introduce a test that demonstrates why active listening is important and then present you with 2 exercises. First, we'll do the tricky test. You will read the following story and then be asked a question for which you will be allowed 10 seconds to respond before the answer is given. You are driving a bus and stop to pick up an elderly gentleman who has difficulty bringing his walker on the bus. At the next stop, you pick up 3 Girl Scouts carrying boxes of Girl Scout cookies. At the next stop, a middle-aged woman gets on and everybody notices that her t-shirt is on inside out. At your last stop, a woman in pink hair with her cell phone plugged into her ears dances onto the bus, oblivious to the world around her. Question: how old is the bus driver? You have 10 seconds. If you guessed that the bus driver was your age, you're correct. Remember, you are the bus driver. I'm sure many of you have heard this before. The reason the tricky test is still around is that a great many people don't get it. They are too involved with the noise, all of the references to the likely ages of the passengers. Finally, we will do the clap and follow game. This is a simple game. The more players, the better. But if played regularly, it will improve one's active listening. A leader is chosen who makes the following rules. 1 clap, you stand. 2 claps, you hop in place. 3 claps, you rub your tummy, and so on. The leader then starts alternating between 1 clap, 2 claps, and so on. The group has to be able to listen with complete concentration and follow through. You could even include the elimination round. The person who fails to come through when the action is eliminated. This continues until there is one clear winner. Next, follow my lead. This game is a bit more difficult. It demonstrates that all noise is not verbal. Listen carefully. The trainer stands on a raised platform and instructs all the participants to listen to what she is saying. The participants have to listen to what she is saying and then do the action. For example, she will say, clap twice or make a fist. The tricky part comes now. To see if they are really listening while giving an instruction, she will perform a completely different action. For example, she might say, clap your hands, but then she might click her fingers. Many participants will click their fingers instead of clapping their hands. The sense of sight. We've worked really hard with our previous activities. Now let's have a little bit of fun. Optical illusions. We can't always trust what we see. On the following slides are a few examples with an explanation as to why our perception is as it is for each. Look at the picture. Yes, these lines are actually straight. They look slanted because of the gray outlining of the blocks. And you can take a ruler if you don't believe me. In this illustration, false depth perception is created. These horizontal lines also are really straight. Take that ruler if you have any doubts. Does the blue line continue the black line, or is it the red? Many people select the blue line, but in actuality, the red line continues the black. Both of these rectangles are parallel. Use a ruler if you have any doubts. Slanted lines affect our perception. Color blindness is a very real condition. For the circle on the left, do you see the 12? Circle on the right, can you see the 26? Red and green are the most common colors related to color blindness, and about 8% of men have color blindness, whereas it's about half percent of women. So odds are you know several men who are colorblind. During this creativity workshop, we have shown you how to channel each of your individual sentences. How you decide to do the individual exercises is up to you, but hopefully you will be able to utilize a few to focus your own mental energy. Once you have your mental energy focused towards one specific sense, you will be more apt to have more ideas and unlock some creativity. This will help to focus and hone your own ability towards free thinking and creativity. With so much happening around us on a daily basis, gaining focus can be extremely challenging. Using your individual senses to focus and channel creativity can not only help to center us and increase focus, it can also teach us to be mindful of ourselves. This mindfulness can then channel our own inner creativity.